I wanted to bring up the Illuvium price because obviously we just saw a big crash. My question to both of you is if we're just in the middle of this bull run and we see a nice 25% dip, is that going to affect how people play and look at Illuvium? Or are we really going to get to the point we're just playing a game and they're going to play regardless of the token?
As long as we maintain a healthy price with everyone else, we don't see us completely ripped down below. If we on the upside, if we go asymmetric, that's completely fine. We want to be in that group of those GameFi projects. So when we do launch the game and people are looking, it's something that people are already talking about. If we're underperforming, we get left behind in content, in videos, and I think that's going to be detrimental. But if we are doing well, and I think we have been doing well, even if you look at the last 30 days, again, this is none of this financial advice, but if you look at the last 30 days, how we've held up compared to Bitcoin, ETH, IMX, and the other gaming projects we've held relatively strong, which I think is it's a good thing for those in the space to see. As long as it's healthy when we launch, I think that's really important. And then you have revenue distribution, of course, buying back from the market. That should always help with price as well. But I think once the game's in, if the game is sticky enough, I think token price has less of an impact. Theoretically, if all goes well, it should remain healthy if we do get an inflow of players. They're spending in the game, revenue distribution, they're buying back from the market. It should all work out. So I think it's just important that we stay on par or do better than the industry standard.
Yeah. Well, so the reason I brought this up is that just obviously the game isn't fully launched yet. So the metric that I can go by are just like views on the Illuvium content and the engagement on X posts. And I
Mm-hmm.
can see a clear difference from, the past few days when everything just kind of went crashing down versus the previous week. So if everybody is like losing that hype so quick with just a 20% token drop and they're not into the content and into the engagement of the content, is that going to follow when it comes to the game itself?
I,
Jimbo, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that actually kind of feeds into my opinion on this. Not what I think will happen, but what I hope doesn't happen is that the price raises for ILV to crazy levels that is caused by speculators, and those speculators are also, there's like speculators under that are like more degenerate, and they're like, oh, let's buy a bunch of alluvials, and then that price gets inflated, and then actual gamers that come into our ecosystem buy decks at a massive premium, so like they spend way too much because these prices are inflated, and then they get dumped on. That's what I really, really hope doesn't happen, and that there's some kind of a education or some kind of plan in place to let people understand the ecosystem better.
I think if I can just jump, I think we're taking a hit on viewership and engagement when the price goes down, just because the game isn't out. I think when the game is out, even if the price goes down, and like I say, the game is sticky enough, you're gonna see it kind of maintain or still go up. I don't think that's gonna be an issue, and it might feel like it from your point of view that it's gone down, but I can say through the data that ever since we've, and I know we're going to talk about it later, the creator program, but ever since that we've started that, it's been pretty insane actually. That week on week, it's been a constant increase. I think there might have been one week where it's gone down slightly, but on all platforms apart from Twitch, the streaming has slowed down a little bit. But that I think is because the game hasn't been updated. The meta is getting a bit stale. But in terms of YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, like everything else, it's we're seeing increases. So there is increased viewership, increased engagement across the board. So I think it might just feel like it's a bit less when the price goes down, but like through data, objectively, that just isn't the case.
Like I said, that's just kind of what I'm noticing, my anecdotal
Mm.
evidence or whatever. But you're seeing a lot more of that data than me.